Good day, everyone. My name is Erixa, and I am here to deliver my speech. Before we start, I would like to thank all of you for lending your time in listening to my speech, and I hope you are all having a good day. The title of my speech is The Side Effects of Social Media: Positive and Negative Feedbacks in All Ages. Today, we will learn about the different impacts of social media when it comes to trends, the average time rate of interacting with social media, and how much influence does it give to people these days. First, ask yourself, how much time do you interact with your family, and then compare it to the time that you spent on using social media. Now, we all share mutual understandings in using social media. I too use social media to gather information for entertainment, news, experience, and many more, just like any other person in this era. Social media either gathers or separates people from the community. People use social media in different ways. The time allotment that they use in social media is much more than the time that they use to socialize with other people. And sometimes the result of using it is obvious. We will learn the different impact of social media when it comes to trends, the average time rate of interacting with social media, and how much it changes our lives. We will talk about the positive and negative side effects of social media, the average time rate of people interacting with it, and how much influence it gives us. We will talk about the quality of the content that social media has and how does it impacts us positively and negatively. We will talk about the average time rate of interaction with social media compared to the average time of people interacting with each other. And lastly, we will talk about the influence of social media with regards to how it changes our lives. So let's begin with the impact of social media when it comes to trends. People nowadays often depend on social media because of its easy access to information and entertainment. Most most use social media because of trends without acknowledging the fact that there may be negative and positive impacts. Social media has negative impacts such as a person projecting of having a perfect image in social media that causes stress and anxiety, and that leads to depression. These social media platforms that creates the stress and anxiety are Facebook, Twitter, and sometimes mostly TikTok. Social media is too open that people can access R-rated websites and false information, and sometimes you can easily see them um, in social media platforms. An example of this is a leakage of links in Facebook, which is the biggest trend in our generation for today. Social media also have positive impacts. A person can be easily informed of news from not just her environment but also the whole world. Because of the easy access of social media, news and other information about other countries can also be accessed through social media platforms, especially Facebook and Google. It also helps a person stay connected to the society because social media can be used to communicate with your family, friends, and other loved ones by chatting and video calls. Now that we have talked about the impacts of social media, let's talk about the average time rate of interaction with it. The average time spent of social media is higher than people interacting and socializing with each other. People mostly use People mostly spend their vacant hours on social media. 145 minutes per day was the average time spent on social media worldwide, with Philippines having the highest average time of 3 hours and 55 minutes and the US having only 2 hours and 3 minutes per day of average time rate. This is because people prefer to use social media more than one-on-one interaction because it is more convenient and they can contact any person anytime and anywhere. The interaction of a person to another is smaller than what's expected. In 2019, a woman can spend an average of 0.66 hours per day on social interaction. A one-on-one interaction is mainly only done during visitations, celebrations, or just random meetups such as going to your nearest Walmart and bumping into your closest relatives or friends or even loved ones. Now that we have talked about the impacts of social media and the average time of interaction, let's talk about the influence and how it changes our lives. The information, socialization, and interaction of people in social media can greatly influence a person depending on his or her perspective. The influence of social media depends on how a person views the situation. Because of social media being open to people's connection and exchange of ideas, an example of a situation is a is people sharing only one article but having different thoughts saying on that article. Platforms such as Twitter and Facebook are open to everyone to the extent of them being allowed to share their daily life activities. This is because Facebook, Twitter, and even Instagram now has has this platform called My Day, which lets you share lets you share your daily life activities. It Besides that, social media also greatly changed people's lives. The information that it has helps people learn more about household chores, life hacks, and other different things that other people know because of the exchange of knowledge that we are doing in social media. Others also rely on its recommendation because of its accuracy and verification that helps them to easily access emergency protocols. Some videos on YouTube and Facebook helps you learn how to do mouth-to-mouth recitation, first aids, and self-defenses. In conclusion to all of what we have discussed, social media will either gather or separate people from the community. People use social media in different ways, and the time allotment that they use in social media is much more than the time that they use to socialize. And sometimes the result of interacting with it is obvious. We learn through all of this the different impacts of social media when it comes to trends, the average time rate of interacting with social media, and how much influence it gives us. We also talked about the positive and negative impact of social media, the average time rate of people who interact with it, and how much influence it gives us. We talked about the quality of the content that social media has and did how much it impacts us positively and negatively. We also talked about the average time rate of interaction with social media compared to the current average time of people interacting. And lastly, we talked about the influence of social media regarding how it changed our lives. Social media can either be an inspiration for success or a problem in our society. It truly depends on how people use it. To wrap this all up, once again, I am Eric Samay Soto, and thank you all for listening. Hope you all have a good day.